Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Good energy today. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Columbus Metropolitan Club. CMC connects people and ideas through community conversations at forums just like the one you're at today, nearly every week. My name's Lisa Hinson. I am founder of Hinson Limited Public Relations, and I'm a very proud member of the board of the Columbus Metropolitan Club. For those of you joining us by live stream, we're coming to you from the Ellis in Columbus's historic Italian village. We welcome all of you online and those of you in the room with us today. I want to point out, if you scan the QR codes that you'll find on your table, you can learn more about today's forum, take a short survey, and see all the organizations that support your not-for-profit Columbus Metropolitan Club. Speaking of supporters, I want to say how grateful we are to the presenting sponsor of today's forum, the Columbus Foundation right here, and Cardinal Health also right here, and American Electric Power right here. So please let's give them a round of applause. This program wouldn't be possible without their generosity. We also thank the presenting sponsors of our live stream, the Center for Human Kindness at the Columbus Foundation, our live stream partner, the Columbus Dispatch, and the Ellis for hosting us. Every CMC forum takes a village, and we want to thank everyone who makes today possible, including our hardworking staff, and they are very hardworking to do this every week. Columbus appears to be on track to keep an important promise, the Columbus Promise. This innovative partnership launched with the goal of sending more Columbus City School graduates to college, boosting their own life trajectories and helping Central Ohio supercharge its workforce. It's now no longer just a pilot program. Today, we'll unpack the Columbus Promise, explore its origins and impact, and get an inside look at what's to happen next. To introduce our panel, please welcome Angela Parsons from today's presenting sponsor, the Columbus Foundation. Angela, it's all yours.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. Good afternoon. I am happy to be here today representing your local community foundation. We are excited to once again be a sponsor of the Columbus Metropolitan Club as they connect people and ideas through community conversations. The Columbus Foundation is proud to be an early partner of the Columbus Promise, both as an initial funder of the pilot and as part of the steering and fundraising committees. This innovative partnership is one of the best examples of the Columbus Way, with the 4 principal organizations working together with our amazing community of funders to help students succeed and to build a workforce pipeline that will strengthen and improve our community for the benefit of all of its residents. It is my great honor today to welcome the panel of Central Ohio leaders. So please welcome Dr. Angela Chapman, Superintendent of Columbus City Schools, Janelle Coleman, Vice President of Community Engagement and Corporate Philanthropy and President of the AEP Foundation. Shannon Hardin, our President of the Columbus City Council. And Dr. Desiree Polk-Bland, Senior Vice President for Student Success at Columbus State Community College. And our host, returning once again to CMC, Colleen Marshall, news anchor with NBC4 and host of NBC4's The Spectrum. Colleen, welcome back.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see this room so full of people who care about the education of our children and all the people online. I just did a Zoom interview with Congresswoman Joyce Beatty when I was upstairs there. She said she was going to tune in and watch the live stream because apparently she cares about education too. So welcome, Joyce, and to all of you who are watching online. I think we should start, in case you aren't familiar with the Columbus Promise, I'll start with Shannon Hardin because you were the one who introduced this program to me and helped found it. So why don't you tell us exactly what is the Columbus Promise?
Sure, and thank you so much, Colleen, and thank you all for being here for this conversation. It's a packed room, but also you can feel the energy here. So would you give yourselves a round of applause for just bringing this energy to supporting young people in our community? And I always say that the Columbus Promise is not altruistic. Like we are doing it because we want to pay back, we want to invest in our young people, but really we're doing it because we need these young people to have the credentials and the degrees so they can take the jobs of the future. And so really it goes back to 2019, where I think it was Dr. Harrison, who we have here today, and a great partner of the Columbus Promise, had a convening of called the Columbus Compact. They were studying what the impacts of Columbus's credentialing or non-credentialing would have on the future growth of our city. They said that the city of Columbus needed about 65% of our young people to have some level of credential, but that if the current state of what we were doing, that we would not hit that goal until 2060. And so we looked around the country around what we could do. And this idea of a promise program kept bubbling up. A promise program is simple. It's a simple guarantee that if you do a couple things, you will get a benefit. If you graduate from high school, if you apply for the FAFSA, and if you apply for this program, you get to go to college for free. No questions asked. That is it. That is it. That's the promise. And what we saw, and so we started those conversations in 2019. Obviously, we all know what happened next. 2020 came, and truthfully, our priorities shifted when we started going through the pandemic. And this thing that we saw as something that would be additive to our community really became something that, you know, we were kind of just working on other things until later that year, late 2020. Dr. Harrison called me back again, and he said, well, Shannon, you had this idea that we were talking about in 2019 around college going and needing to credential folks. You should see what the pandemic has done to college going this year. We were seeing steep declines. Matter of fact, in 2020 and 2021, when we started the program, we had college going out of Columbus City Schools at around 32%. Around 32%. And he said if there was ever a time to roll out a program like this, it's actually right now. And so because of the partnerships, because of I Know I Can already being embedded in our Columbus City Schools, because of our superintendent and the great partnerships that we were able to have, because of the support of Mayor Ginther and my colleagues on council, because of the private sector that was already amped and excited about, and truthfully already doing a lot of different things in the workforce development space. When we brought this idea to the Columbus community, it took us about 4 to 5 months to introduce this idea and then raise the $10 million that we needed for the first 3-year pilot. And Colleen, when we say that, I'm so grateful because in 2021, we brought this community an idea sketched on a napkin, and the community invested in it. Now we are back 3.5 years later with an amazing program with amazing results. I'm looking out, I'm seeing Jeronica, one of our students who is doing amazing things, one of our Promise scholars. Stand up, Jeronica, and be recognized. Edgar is here too. Edgar, would you stand up and be recognized? It's the coolest thing to see our future right in front of us. It's the coolest thing. And again, we're not doing this because they're just amazing young people. We're doing this because we desperately need it. We all know that Columbus is going to grow. We all know that we're creating all these jobs, but who gives a damn about all these jobs and this growth if it's not for our kids in the first place? That's what the Columbus Promise is about.
Well, as you said, it's about students. So I'm trying to figure out who do I want to go to next. So I think I have to go to Dr. Chapman, because when this idea comes, tell me how it's received by students in Columbus City Schools who were told, okay, maybe you can go to college because you don't have to pay for it. I'm from Appalachia. Poor kids don't go to college. So how is it received by the students in Columbus City Schools?
Thank you, Colleen, for that question. First, I certainly want to go back to when President Hardin was sharing that in 2020, what the pandemic did to exacerbate academic achievement, economic opportunities, health disparities. When the promise was launched, it was certainly in response to managing and helping to lift up our entire community, to support our students, to give them the hope, to give them remove the barriers and create access to higher ed and educational attainment. Again, this says to our students, we're removing the barriers. This isn't a question as to if or whether or not you will go to college. This is a question about what do you want to study when you get there? What do you want to major in? What are your interests and passions, and what pathways do you want to continue to extend your learning to? And so it's truly an empowering opportunity for our students. It's an empowering opportunity for our staff to say, our staff don't have to figure it out. We just have to make sure that we're connecting the dots for our students. Fill out the application, complete your FAFSA, fill out your promise application, and the doors are open. And so it's an opportunity, it's empowering, it gives our students hope, and it removes any barrier that our students or our families would even conceive in their mind about why they wouldn't be able to go to college. We're saying as a community, if you are enrolled in Columbus City Schools and when you graduate, we have removed those barriers. You are absolutely going to college.
And I have to ask, I'm saving you because you have something special. So I'm going to go to Dr. Polk-Bland. Not that you aren't special, but I do want to know, what's this meant for Columbus State? Because all of a sudden, this would be an influx of students maybe you hadn't planned for. And are they there? Are they prepared? What's it done for Columbus State?
Great question. And there is a really good answer to that. I mean, so one, what it did for Columbus State was put us in this position as a catalyst for the community. Right? So when we talk about community impact and we talk about what's happening, the success of Columbus City Schools, the impact of I Know I Can in those schools, the impact of the city, right? It put us in the center of partnership and what we need to do for collective impact. It put us in a position of strength with students. Columbus State has always operated on this lost momentum framework. And that really is about the student experience. It gives us the ability to say, where along our student experience are students getting momentum to succeed and where are they not, right? So taking this group of students from Columbus Promise and being able to assign them advisors that they can get direct communication from, case management, right? A proactive approach to advising, and say, where are the things in our system, right? So it allowed us to analyze our system of support for students, analyze what our partners bring to the table, and really support our students in different ways. And so being able to do that has yielded effective results. And so our ability to serve students, yeah, we had to question that. What are we doing? It's a lot of students. So I've got some of our English faculty here. How are we designing coursework to support our students? How are we embedding tutoring in our math classes to support students? How are we wrapping all kinds of non-cognitive supports around students? So what can we do to help students with employment, childcare, food, housing, transportation, right? All of those things that we had to address to say, if we're going to really live this framework of lost momentum, we don't want to lose students, right? It's more of the momentum piece. And so it's connecting students with all of the academic and non-academic support. So what it did to Columbus State was really put us in the center of this phenomenal partnership, right? But it gave us an opportunity to really analyze our supports in ways we hadn't been able to do clearly before with this population, and the amount of support that we knew we would need to put in place, because as others have mentioned, we were right at the post-pandemic. So these are students who finished their high school online for the most part. And so we were in a place where we needed to understand what kind of support that students needed. And we were able to tackle that through really focused case management support of students. So positioning us in that role was critically important for the students, and our success outcomes are
Know
there.
off the top of your head how many students have been through the program?
So right now, we pre-promise, we had 313 students enter from Columbus City into Columbus State. And the first year, we took that number to, it was 790, right?
Wow.
And then we only went higher to 800, and right now we are at 800, I even wrote it down, it's 848 students that started this term. So the total is well over about 1,700 Columbus City School students that are currently registered and enrolled at Columbus State Community College.
Okay.
A third of all graduates now coming out of Columbus City Schools are Columbus Promise Scholars. I think that's amazing. When we said that in 2021, 32% of our kids from Columbus City Schools were going to college, now that number is over 50% because of the Columbus Promise. It is giving access and opportunity to so many of our young people, and it's amazing what they're doing at Columbus State to take care of them.
Well, we all know that this takes money. And we all know that there are certain industries in this city who are called upon over and over and over to write some checks. And Janelle Coleman represents one of those. AEP stepped forward very early. He said that first year they needed $10 million. Why don't you tell us your history with the Columbus Promise and what's next?
Thank you, Colleen. Well, first of all, if you all don't know, you should know when Council President Hardin calls, you answer the phone. Because he is calling with a purpose and a mission. He is always working to improve our community, and his dedication to the future of Columbus is, I think, paramount and obvious through, again, the sketch on the napkin about the Columbus Promise. And so Shannon shared this with me really early on and said, do you think this is something that the private sector will get behind? And I said, absolutely. It is upon us in the private sector as well as the public sector to invest in our young people. They are our future workforce. And so not only is it the right thing to do, it makes business sense. And we know that it takes money, it takes dedication, and it takes a stacking of the hands approach for both the public and the private to make sure that this happens. So in the first iteration of Columbus Promise, we gave $750,000. I think we were the first company, thank you. We were the first in the AEP Foundation, and I'm really, really happy, pleased, and honored to share with you all today that for this second cohort, the AEP Foundation is making a $1 million donation.
So I'm involved with some nonprofits, especially the Alzheimer's Association, and our concern this year is that companies aren't going to be in an economic position to give. The economy is, let's call it, a little shaky. I'm being nice. There's a lot of concern. Jamie Dimon is predicting 60% chance now for recession by the end of summer. How can you still do this, and why are you still doing this?
Well, for American Electric Power, we have been dedicated to education for as long as the company has been around. We cannot afford not to do this. Our business is about innovation, it's about technology, it's about making sure that we can keep the lights on no matter what is happening, and it takes highly skilled people to be able to do that. I think we are the backbone of the U.S. economy, and so we really need to make sure that we're investing in the people that we need to make sure that our company is successful. So I honestly feel that we can't afford to do it, Colleen. It's an investment not only in AEP, but in our overall community. We know that when the community does well as a whole, we all do well. And education, I believe, is the backbone of that. I'm a first-generation college student, but for Pell Grants and loans and scholarships, Janelle Coleman would not be sitting here today. So I really, truly believe, personally and from a corporate standpoint, that it's just something we have to do.
What's it been like for students? You and I talked briefly about this earlier, Dr. Chapman. This is really, it sounds so corny and trite to say life-changing. This is life-changing, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's life-changing for our students. It's life-changing for the families. When our students have the opportunity to continue their learning and pursue their higher ed goals, they have an opportunity to really take part in all of the economic growth and opportunity that's happening in our city. And so we're preparing our students for the workforce. The promise gives them an opportunity to continue their learning at Columbus State in in-demand career fields such as healthcare, advanced manufacturing, technology, just to name a few. Right now, those industries have over 3,000 job openings right here in the city of Columbus. It is absolutely a moral imperative for our community to stand up for our students, remove the barriers, and create access for them to have access to these high-paying, high-skilled jobs in their backyard. Our failure to do that is a moral imperative, and that's on us if we do not create the conditions to ensure that they are successful for the opportunity that's right here in their backyard. And so for our students, it creates a clear pathway for them to do that and removing any barriers so that they can have access to all the economic growth, opportunity, and prosperity that's happening in our community. Our students can't be on the outside looking in. They can't. It would be, the failure would be on us as a community to not create those opportunities for them to have access.
So Dr. Polk, yeah. I'll ask you then, Dr. Polk-Bland, what are you doing to connect with industries so that you know how to train, what what the demands will be for this workforce? Yeah.
Our career services team and our academic departments have workforce advisory boards. Our career services team sits on those boards, and the point is to prepare students for jobs of the future. So to Dr. Chapman's point about the moral imperative, preparing students for the jobs of today is also a disservice because some of them won't exist, right? So it's constantly working with employers to say, what is the need? What is the future need? Right? Where are we going? And there's a lot of conversation now about technology, AI, how work will change in the future, and our students have to be informed of that and educated in that way. And so staying abreast of what's happening in industry, what our employers need, and them telling us. So it's the technical skill, and it's just the work-ready skill. And so to get our students really involved early on in things like earn and learn, in internship experiences, so that they are in the workforce early, they are earning early, they are gaining that early experience and momentum is what we are intentionally trying to do. And so getting our students in front of opportunities that they didn't know existed is it's a key premise of Promise, is how do we get you exposed? And we want to do that earlier and earlier and earlier to get them exposed to professions so that you understand what all of the options are. And so our workforce has come in strong. So President Hardin mentioned earlier the Central Ohio Compact, and it's a room full of Central Ohio leaders, Central Ohio employers who will say, this is what we're looking for. This is what we need. Education, here is how you need to change to support what we need. And we listen to that, and we make sure that our students are prepared.
So Shannon, are you tapping into the workforce needs by trying to get those employers to help support this program? Because you still have a goal, you still have money to raise, right?
For sure. I mean, I think that's a twofer question, because what Dr. Polk-Bland was talking about was both sides of the commitment from the private sector. One, for sure, We need the financial support to continue the program, but we also need companies to hire these young people and to give those intern experiences. I'm looking at Hector here. I was out at IGS Energy maybe a month ago, and they have 12 to 15 young people in the Columbus Promise program who are being supported, who are working in the industry that they want to work in, that they feel comfortable now being in that environment, and so many more. Nationwide Insurance is hiring young people right now out of the Columbus Promise program. That is another part of how the private sector is and can continue to step up, is by allowing for our young people to engage. And that's not easy work, because when we started the Promise program, we also knew that 70% of young people who go to Columbus State actually go there part-time, which means that they also have to have another job. And so all we said when we were talking about Earn and Learn was, well, and we love Donatos, I specifically love Donatos, but we don't want, if our young people are going to school and studying IT, then it probably isn't the best use of their time for their job to be, delivering pizza. They should be at Nationwide Insurance, getting the skills that they can in 18 months or 2 years when they graduate with that degree or that certificate, can use and be applicable to their actual career. And that is what we have seen the private sector, these companies stepping up time and time again to do, to hire these young people and give them that fresh start.
So Janelle, does AEP put pressure on other businesses to step up?
Pressure, but definitely we want to influence behaviors. We want to influence
Encouragement.
and encouragement. Yes, and encouragement to stack hands and to make sure that this is a community approach. And I want to make sure that I get this in, Colleen, because we are not the only company today that is stepping up. There are a few others, and Shannon mentioned them, but I want to make sure that I give them the proper recognition. The Columbus Foundation has stepped up with a $200,000 gift.
Oh.
Nationwide, $300,000.
Wow.
Huntington, $300,000. JP Morgan Chase, $225,000. And DLZ at $100,000. I want to thank all of these companies and the companies that stepped up in the first cohort and those who I know will step up beyond this. We know that this is a continued investment to make sure that these students can reach their goal. But Colleen, to piggyback on your earlier point about the pressure is there, but clearly these companies understand the value of investing in our future.
If you are here from one of those companies, could you stand up so we can recognize you? I know Columbus Foundation is here, Nationwide is here, Huntington. Thank you. Thank you so much. I was trying to add those numbers in my head, but math is hard, Dr. Polk-Bland. Numbers are hard. I think that's about another $1 million, isn't it?
2.1 million.
2.1 altogether today?
Altogether today
wow,
is $2.1 million.
That's good. So thanks to all of those companies. So Dr. Chapman, we're seeing then, as he said, 33% of the school students now going on to this Columbus Promise, about 33%. How has that changed, do you think, the learning at the high school levels? Are teachers recognizing now that they're getting a student body ready for college? Is there more of an emphasis on, okay, you're going to go to Columbus State, and then after that, you might be going to Ohio State or OU or another, to a four-year institution. Has it changed your teaching methods?
Absolutely. So a third of our graduates now are Promise Scholars, which we're certainly excited about. But this work begins well before our students reach high school. This work begins as early as pre-K, before our students even come Why, as a district, we are advocating for expanding universal early childhood programming for our students so that they can begin school at the age of 4. That should also be a commitment from our community to make sure that we're expanding access to support our students. The opportunity to expose our students to career opportunities and expose them to opportunities so that they know what these in-demand career fields look like, sound like, feel like. We have pilot programs where we are providing our students with exposure opportunities in the classroom. They can wear these VR headset goggles, and they can actually engage as if they are in a fab lab and they are working on equipment, even as if it's a simulated experiences. So we're providing them with those experiences earlier and often, and we're thinking about how do we provide more of those experiences for more of our students so when they graduate from high school, all of them have had their internship experiences, they've had their work-based learning experiences, so that they will make even more informed decisions when they transition to Columbus State after they graduate. This is also a reason why we are continuing as a school district to fight for fair school funding to ensure that our students have opportunities and access. This is really an opportunity for us to make sure that our students are promise ready. And to ensure that they are promise ready, that begins as early as pre-K. We can't wait until 12th grade. It's too late, right? Because all of their peers may have had experiences, career-related experiences where they're familiar with those opportunities, and we want them to be intentional when they transition to Columbus State. We want them to know, they'll be able to say that they've had at least 2 years of experience in the various career fields, and they'll know exactly what they are transitioning, the programs and the pathways that they are transitioning to when they get to Columbus State.
Okay, well, you brought up funding, so I got to go there. There is right now about $1 billion in state funds set aside for the voucher program, funding for public schools. It looks like we'll be going on the way down in the current budget, and there's not a lot of support at the State House to change that. So what do you, as the leader of the state's largest school district, what's your option here? Are you putting pressure on state lawmakers to maybe change the balance a little bit?
Absolutely. As Janelle mentioned pressure earlier, we are certainly applying pressure as a part of the democratic process. That's what we are expecting to do. We're expected to do. We have provided testimony at the State House. We're continuing to meet with legislatures to make sure that they understand what's at stake. What's really frustrating for me as a resident of Columbus and a community member is that just a year ago, our community came together and passed a levy for our school district, right? $100 million to support operating and permanent improvement funds. If this budget bill goes through, essentially all of the investments that our community came together to say we want to support our schools will be wiped out. Right? And so when we think we stand to lose over $50 million in funding in the state budget, that's for public education. That's the state share. If we don't get our state share of funding from the state, that means the burden is shifted back to the taxpayers. We've done our part in the community. Our community has said we want to support our schools. We passed the levy. And so this is an opportunity for everyone in the community to let their voices be heard. You can write to our legislature. You can make phone calls. You can raise your voice to say how this is unfair and how we certainly need the state to step up and do their part to support public education for all of our children. And again, over 80% of children in the state attend public schools. This is not a time to divest in public education. This is a time to invest in public education, and that's why we're all here today.
We do have a reminder that we take public questions from people who are here in the audience, anything you might have for the panel. If you want to line up back there, it is our habit to let you ask what you would like to hear from the panelists. And they always tell me, warn everyone, don't give us a speech, just ask your question. They tell me to say that, I'm just saying it. So I now have, I'm going to give a final quick question for each of you. I want you to tell me, from a personal standpoint, what this investment, I know this is something very near and dear to Shannon Hardin's heart. So I'll start down at the end, though, with Dr. Polk-Bland. From a personal perspective, what this program means to you, why you think it's important.
So personally, I think that Janelle said she's a first-generation college student. And without the support I received, I wouldn't be Dr. Desiree Polk-Bland, Senior Vice President at Columbus State. So what this program means to me really is access and opportunity, right? How are we building a better community? How are we building a better workforce? How are we building a better economy for Central Ohio? That's what this program means to me. I am dedicated to it, and we are really, really making good progress. The data tells a compelling story about what's happening with Promise, what's happening with our students, and we will continue this work.
And Shannon?
Well, I think folks know that I grew up in Southfield, went to Columbus City Schools. My grades were just good enough to get me into an amazing college, Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. Without Morehouse, I would not be here. But the issue with graduating from Morehouse is that I came out with $175,000 in student loan debt. And for all the advantages that I have received because of that education, I know and I knew when starting this program that as Columbus continues to grow and we think about how much we need all of our players on the field. We can't just have success be relegated to a couple high schools or a couple neighborhoods or a couple communities. We need all of our babies to have an access and opportunity. I knew that that $175,000 debt, that weight that it puts on people would be something that would exclude so many of our residents, so many of our young people, that we had to do something. We had to do something. It also means to me, you know, Columbus has been able to do a lot of amazing things because folks feel like, or want to feel like, the successes, the positive things that they're hearing about are really for everybody. I had a strong belief that if we didn't do something that was demonstrably for everybody, that it would become harder to create partnerships, that it would become harder to stack hands to do the bigger thing, because it would seem that the success that some of us are feeling is coming at the expense of others. And Columbus Promise cuts straight through that. Just because you are here, just because you are a Columbus resident, just because you've done your part, we're stepping up and we're making sure that you have this thing for you, for your future, for your family, and thus for our community. And so that's what it means to me. It really is really an investment in our city, in our hopes, our dreams, and who we will be.
And Janelle, I imagine you also take great pride in where this program is going.
Yes, I do, Colleen. You know, what Columbus Promise does is it removes doubt. And I think sometimes doubt is a dream killer. And if we can give our young people the ability to not doubt that they can go to college, to help them give it a second thought, then we should do it. And that's what Columbus Promise does. I'm sure we all know people, or we all have encountered young folks who did not pursue something because they told themselves, I can't do that. And they just closed the door and went the other direction. I believe Columbus Promise opens that door and gives that young person, that student, a second thought of, maybe I can do this. And hopefully they walk through the door and pursue a higher education. So this is deeply personal for me, but it also is something that I think as a community, and I said this earlier, we can't afford not to do. We have to inspire our young people. We have to invest in our young people, and we have to do whatever we can to remove doubt so that they can pursue their dreams.
And Dr. Chapman?
So when I think about the impact of the promise and what it means to me personally, the phrase, "it takes a village to raise a child," comes to mind. And the promise puts those words into action. It says to our students, the Columbus community supports, we love, and we care for our students, and we're going to do everything possible to rally the resources, rally the manpower to ensure that every student, regardless of their zip code, regardless of the obstacles and barriers that may have been in their way, that they have an opportunity to pursue higher education right here in Columbus.
Thank you all, and we're going to go to, we have questions coming from the audience online as well as some people here in the audience. So Doug Buchanan.
Colleen, thank you so much, and thank you to today's panelists for an inspiring conversation. If you have a question for today's wonderful panelists, please do join us here at the microphone. If you're watching online, please type your question into the chat. We'll try to get to as many as we can. Great questions at CMC always have two things in common. They are short and to the point. And what punctuation mark does a question end with? Question mark. A question mark. They end with a question mark. Thank you, everyone. I'll start us off with this one. Is the Columbus Promise unique? Was it inspired by any programs in other cities? Has it or could it become a model for other cities in Ohio?
I'll answer that. Columbus likes to be first at a lot of things. This is one where we were not first. But there's benefit to being, I think we're like the 161st Promise program around the country. So a lot of folks, I think the first one was created in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And Promise programs can be used to do different things. I think Kalamazoo created their program to retain folks. They were having the brain drain that folks were leaving. So they just wanted to keep young people in their city. Coming behind so many Promise programs around the country, it allowed for us to really design what we believe is one of the best well-designed Promise programs in the country. It is intentional that we did not put career-specific direction to our program. A lot of folks will say, well, you have these couple areas where you need to hire folks in, just make the program free for those study areas. Well, by doing that, it actually excludes young people who say, well, actually, I don't know if I'm good in technology, if it was just a technology pathway. What we find is by keeping it broad and keeping it open, we get folks who come in not knowing exactly what they want to do, but then find their way to a technology career. Right now, Columbus has one of our biggest areas of
So I think the ways in which business industry, large, small companies really can give to Promise is understanding that these students need these experiences, that they are students, right? So there's the flexibility of employment experience and what they need. If we get more people to come in and say, I want to support 1 student, 2 students, we need all of the supports that we can get to get people in those industries working and having the experience of that work real time. And small businesses do a fantastic job of giving the attention to the students in those sort of walk with me through this experience as I am working and giving them really a knowledge base that they just don't have anyplace else. And some of our students just have never worked that type of job before. So those kinds of skills, and I'm talking about technical skills and just workforce readiness skills, are imperative. So more small businesses can participate in that way, definitely.
Thank you very much. Council President Hardin, as the city continues to invest in the Columbus Promise, how are you thinking about long-term sustainability and ensuring future administrations also stay committed to this vision?
Started this program again 3 years ago with a direct public-private partnership. The city put in $5 million, the private sector put in another $5 million, and Columbus State put in $1 million. That got us to the first round. When we launched the second phase of Columbus Promise, we said that this was a gap, that this was a bridge to what will be hopefully a sustainable model going forward. We said that it wouldn't just fund 3 years, it would fund a 6-year phase of the next cohort. So the city, thanks to Mayor Ginther and my colleagues, stepped up for $10 million. The private sector right now, I think our total that we have committed and raised is $17.6 million of the 25 total that we need for the next 6 years of the program. But really, the truth is, some of it is because of what we're seeing at the national and state level around funding, but there is a growing necessity for us here in Columbus to chart our own course, to figure out the big challenges that we have around funding, that we have around supporting many different sectors, not just education, but homelessness and healthcare in our nonprofit community. And so we're coming together to have these large conversations around how we can, and what is the best opportunity for us to create long-term sustainability. We will figure this out on the local level, and we will, to make sure that, because what we know for sure is that we cannot take away this benefit from our young people. We know that for sure, and I know that because of the folks on the panel, because of the folks in this room, we will stack hands and we will come up with a Columbus solution, long-term solution, long-term investment that will fund this program in perpetuity.
Hi, my name is Angela Barnes, and thank you, Councilman Hardin, for inviting me to this today. And thank you all for everyone else on the panel. The man before me, he asked part of my question, but I am the school board president for Canal Winchester Schools. I also serve the community with the Greater Southeast Area Commission with the City of Columbus as the chair. And I'm the owner and operator of Wireman Electric, the only Black female-owned electrical company in the city that is union. At least today, I'm still union. But 33% is a great number for you guys. I'm glad that we've gotten that number to that point. Like I said, I have one son who's received the Moral Scholarship, Upward Bound, Young Scholars. Those things just aren't around anymore. But 28% of Canal Winchester schools is Columbus. And that affects our students, and a lot of the students in Columbus have been through regentrification, have been moved to the limits of the Columbus area. And so they are going to suburban schools, but they still need a Columbus promise. They still are Columbus residents, and they still live in the limits of the city of Columbus. And I wanted to know and I may have missed this. I'm sorry for being late because I had another appointment, but I may have missed this discussion. But what are you doing to make sure that the students in Columbus, all students, not just Columbus City students, but all students in Columbus get the same opportunity? Because as an electrician, I'm looking for kids every day that can come into the electrical field and be able to, be on my team. So that's my question.
No, I thank you, Ms. Vangela, for that question. It is, if there was a critique of our Promise program, is that how can we make it serve more folks? And I think that is a huge, good challenge for us to have. I think if we think about the future and the vision of Columbus Promise, it's not just going to be for Columbus City Schools. It will be a county-wide solution for all students in Franklin County. It will also think about going to adults so that we can get those folks credentialed. It will also think about 4-year options as well, 2 years at Columbus State and a 2-year option at one of our amazing 4-year institutions. So the future is what we build of it. We get to create that. And I think that this is a strong, strong foundation. And I think it's going to be on all of us in this room to make sure that it's not just for Columbus City School students, but that it grows for the entire region.
Hello, my name is Lumiere Conte, and it's good to see you again, Council President Hardin. I was actually part of your 2021 cohort for your Youth Promise program. Yes, I work closely with you and Councilmember Shayla Favor, and so I'm sort of speaking off the cuff because I'm a Columbus Promise Scholar as well, but I didn't attend wholly due to any extreme destitute circumstances. I would say I'm a rather bright student, but I attended Columbus State with a Columbus Promise scholarship because it was the more economic route. I saw it as the smartest way to go about things because, in my opinion, there's very little upsides to debt. No matter what anyone can tell me, that it'll be worth it in the long run if you have a certain degree or path of education that you acquire. It just doesn't seem as smart. So not only is the Columbus Promise the way to upholster opportunities for me, but it's just a way to upholster financial security for youth, especially, and their families. So my question is, all the while that I've been here, and I'd intend to graduate this spring, all the while that I've attended Columbus State, the question has come up again, what happens after? What happens after these 2 years? Am I ready to, have I fully come to an understanding of what it means to venture into a 4-year university with all the financial and economic aspects of doing so? Have I leveraged all my options, and have I, taken the advices of all the councils and advisors that I could have? I see that it's a very self-determined venture most of the time for our students who probably didn't believe that they could go to college. So how do we make it so that these students who, for one, didn't expect to be in college, to understand that they are able to come to Columbus Promise and the scholarship, knowing that they will be provided the resources to know what happens after they're gone, and that they're not left, abandoned per se after the 2 years? And how can they fully realize the consequences of deciding to venture out into more education after?
Well, can we celebrate this young lady also? Like, this is, This is the Columbus promise, and this is why we do it. I think that the promise just has to continue. The promise has to continue in one way or the other, that there are the jobs there on the other side that you can be hired into, that you can start your career, that you can start your family, build your family in this city, because again, we need you out there. We need you a part of this healthy workforce. But the promise also has to grow for those who want to continue education and to build. And I bet Dr. Polk-Bland can talk about the colleges that are knocking down the door to be in partnership with Columbus State so that there is a easy handoff. Columbus State does this already, this handoff to these two colleges, and I'm sure Dr. Polk, you want to hit on that.
Yeah, we do. So we have a set of colleges that are our preferred pathway partners, where we're talking about admission into those. But one of your larger questions too is really around the entire pathway. So Dr. Chapman talked about we needing to start early, right? And it's mapping to careers, and it's having an academic plan, a career plan, and a financial plan, right? So all of those, all the way through to the job that you want, whether that is the 2-year degree to the job, whether it's a 4-year degree to the job. What are we mapping for you academically, career-wise, and financial, right? So those are the next steps. Like, how do we continue to build the program? We're coming out of pilot stage into a more bridge stage, and so building those. But as far as what is your next, right? Getting employment experience while you're in the program, we think is critically important, but understanding all of your options. And so from a Columbus State perspective, we do have 9 preferred pathway partners where we have partnerships, agreements with those 9 institutions, and can walk you through. They come to our campus often, and we can walk you through that process. So definitely, I got we're wrapping up. But yes, I saw it, Doug. I got it. But your question, really, really important, because it's about the entire pipeline, the entire pathway from the beginning to where our student wants to end up, and that is through a bachelor's degree program and into the workforce. And we are growing all of those resources for students. But thank you. That is really important for our next. Yes.
That rap cue was for me, but thank you for catching it too. I do want to thank all the members of the panel for really great discussion and for giving this city a pretty important promise. So thanks to all of you. And I think I'm handing it back over.
Thank you all. I hope, and I think you'll all agree, we have the right leaders in the right roles, either on the front lines or on the funding side, to really make this happen. And today was inspirational because it just makes you feel good. We're all coming together to talk about this, but we've got people and businesses and organizations behind really advancing opportunity and access. So congratulations, and what a great announcement. 2.1, and from companies that always lead. You guys are always there. You're always there to invest in our community's kids, health, education, and more. So thank you for that.
Angela, can I just also shout out, I would be remiss if I didn't shout out Jeff Edwards. Yes. And I see Jesse Cannon from Cardinal. Some of for this round, $3 million investment, $2 million from Cardinal. There have been so many, even DLZ, we were talking about small businesses, small company, Ron went to Columbus State, so he wanted to put his $100,000 in. So we just say thank you to all of those who are continuing to invest.
And that's what it takes, collaboration, right? We got a lot of people who care in this community. So thank you again. I get to do the business side here real quick. To the Center for Human Kindness at the Columbus Foundation, our live stream partner, the Columbus Dispatch, and the Ellis for hosting us today. And of course, we thank the Columbus Foundation and our other sponsors, Cardinal Health and American Electric Power, for making today's conversation possible. You guys are superstars. We all know that. Thanks to Janelle, Angela, Shannon, Desiree, and our host, Colleen. Always fabulous. I want to tell you about next week's hot ticket. Hot ticket is why the Fed matters to you. So we're going to welcome Beth Hammock, the new president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland. I think we'll all want to be here, right? Either get online to watch or please be here in person. Definitely a timely topic. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Have a great rest of the week. Thank you.